Okay. Hi everyone. Happy Tuesday. How has your week been going? Ours has been going pretty well. I was just talking to my group. As some of you may know, I have a weekly group every Tuesday at 5 where we just come together to talk and to share our experiences. And I was saying how it feels kind of weird because it's like, okay, we're allowed out again. But at the same time, we can't exactly live the way that things were before. So it's like kind of weird of like, okay, we can go out, but we still have to like take some precautions, but we don't really know how much of it is actually necessary and how much of it. So yeah, that's for me, that's what I'm currently going through. And so I'd also love to hear from you. How have you been handling life in phase 2, life in almost no more phases? Like next week, we won't have any more of these phases. So yeah, just share in the comments. Maybe for you, what has been a struggle for you recently about going back to normal? And for me, it's that it's thinking, okay, we're back to normal, but we can't exactly do the same things that we used to do before. And so, for those of you who are watching for the very first time, hello, I am Denise. I am a parenting coach based here in Madrid, and I am also a mom of 2. And today we have Laura. She is a psychotherapist and she's part of the group Ulysses Psychotherapy. And today she's actually going to be talking to us about that, about how we can support our kids through this de-escalation, right? Or through this new normal. So, hi.
Hello, everyone, and thank Denise for having me, and to everyone, well, and thank you for being here and for listening. If you want to make any questions, do them to Denise, and she can ask me, and I'll answer with pleasure.
Yeah.
Well, yes, as Denise was saying, it has been a very challenging time and situation, and now that the rules are changing, it's very important to sit down with our children and tell them what is remaining normal, or what is remaining the same way that it was with the quarantine, and what is changing and why. Because information is reassuring, always, in all situations. Information is reassuring, and people, and us grown up children notice these changes. So it's important to explain them what's going on in an age appropriate way.
Yeah.
In a very simple way. You can use stories. We're going to give you some resources after, if that you can check out, in which you can use drawings, stories, sitting down with them and listening to their worries. And one thing that's very important is that they will look for us parents for reassurance, and to see whether it's, should I be scared, not be scared? Is this a scary situation? Why is everyone wearing masks? And all of this. So, in a way, the best way to support our children is to learn to manage our own anxieties as parents.
Yeah.
And in the measure that we all parents can work through our own anxieties and emotions and understand what we're feeling, we will be much more able to contain the children's anxieties and feelings, and to answer their questions as honestly as possible, and as attached to reality as possible. One thing that you will probably have noticed is probably in children's play, playing, that this character has coronavirus, and this character is ill, or we're going to protect this community, or the city is ill. And all of this is absolutely normal. Through play is how children work through and make sense of everything that's happening around them. And also through drawing. So just being there with them and listening to them, and letting them have their own worlds in which they are developing these narratives through play it's very, very, very positive. I don't know if you have any questions.
Yeah, no, I mean, in my case, my daughter hasn't been having that type of play, but one way that she has kind of been expressing her worry is how she just, and she doesn't say it to me, she says it to her dad. She just like randomly says to him how she doesn't want him to die, or she doesn't want her brother to die, or she doesn't even, she doesn't talk about herself dying. She talks about her family members.
Okay.
Like, yeah, like me, her brother, and her dad. And,
okay.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. This confronts not only children, but every one of us with the topic of death. And death is part of life.
Yeah.
And yes, what we should do is, in a way, contain their anxieties, let them express them, but reassure them that we as parents, in the middle of the situation that is so, in which there is so much unpredictability, the parents are doing everything they can to keep them safe.
Yeah.
And teaching them how they can keep themselves safe as well by using the masks, by keeping social distancing, and also getting them involved in a way in which they feel that they can participate in as citizens in a way, by wearing masks and maybe telling children to remind their parents not to touch their faces. So, making them having a more active and more participation in how to keep themselves safe. That will give them a sense of empowerment in the face of uncertainty and powerlessness, because we all feel very powerless situation. And lots of love to your children, because in times of uncertainty, what is certain are relationships. That is something that no panic, nothing can take away from us. So strengthening the bonds, socializing with children as well, because they are so much relying now on tablets and for example, playing online, which we should, because it's their way of staying connected. And even us, we know we're using Zoom now instead of meeting to be in a cozy place. For them, increasing the interactions with parents is going to be a substitute in a way to the interactions with peers side. So playing with them and asking them questions, being much more involved than before, having as much interaction as possible. It's important to keep them more grounded.
Yeah, I like how you put out, which is something that I've never really thought of, but yeah, like making them giving them like an active role in taking care of themselves, right? And how that really will make them feel more empowered. Because now that it's only when you said it that I realized, a lot of kids must be feeling so powerless.
Yes, same as us
now.
They're feeling the same things that we're feeling. They're children, but they're people. Well, they're persons. We should see children not as little people, but as persons.
Yeah, and something I always teach as well is just how important the relationship is, right? It's like once you have that foundation, once you have that basis of like loving, caring, positive relationship with your child, then everything else will kind of fall into place.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And also, because like one thing you said was giving them love, right? And like loving them. And it's also, when you do that, it's also to kind of think of it from your kids' perspective, right? What are ways that they feel loved? Because maybe
Exactly.
the way it's, if you look at into like couple therapy, like the 5 love languages, right?
Yes,
Like maybe the way that you express your love isn't the way that your child feels loved.
absolutely.
So it's also kind of remembering that it's like um thinking like, okay, of course I love my child, of course my child knows I love them because I do this and this. But then maybe when you speak to the child will think, no, my parent doesn't love me because they don't do this that and that, like, like sometimes it's that lack
That's what's
of,
so important, to listen to them.
yeah,
To listen to them and to also observe how they express love as well.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, Also, sitting down with them when, for example, when writing stories about what's happening now, maybe then writing the story with a different outcome, for example, or giving them a story which prompts something related to their worries, like the coronavirus, or wearing masks that can be scary, or that, and then letting them finish it, to kind of explore what their worries are, and also to then help them finish the story differently without denying the situation. It's always very important to stay grounded to reality, to give them the information as it is. It is scary. It is normal to be scared. It is unpredictable. But there are little things that we can do that are in our power to protect ourselves and our loved ones.
Yeah.
And it's a great opportunity to learn also citizenship, and to learn how to be grateful and appreciate little things. Writing a list of things they are grateful for, it's also a good strategy. And as we were speaking about before, getting them involved in ways in which we can actively do something, maybe to bring food, accompany the parents to give food to the neighbor, for example, or finding groceries for the neighbor, or all of these little things.
Yeah, I like the idea of how you said it's like how we're also teaching them citizenship. And when you said that, it's like, for me, I immediately connected it to the whole making them be active. It's like teaching them, like, you know what, by wearing a mask, you're not necessarily only protecting yourself, but it's also a way for you to take care of others, right? It's showing them that,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. And teaching them responsibility as well. Yes. And if they're scared, for example, to wear a mask, if they're if they're small, for example, start wearing them, little by little, just for a few minutes, and then increase the amount of time, and try to pair that with a positive activity that they like, maybe sitting down and drawing or painting the mask so that they're excited to wear it. Or putting the mask to the stuffed animals, or being creative in that sense, and shifting the meaning of wearing a mask into something positive and proactive, that decreases the sense of unpredictability, helplessness, and hopelessness.
So is there anything, okay, so let me see if I remember. I forgot to write them down. So basically it would be to first of all manage our own anxiety, first of all.
Yes.
Right? And then to help them process their own feelings by validating their worries, reading them stories, and
writing
like
stories.
writing stories or drawing and playing. And then it's also empowering them, right? Making them play an active role in taking care of themselves and being like a good citizen.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Hello? Hello?
Yeah. And hello?
Hello?
Are you back? Yeah.
Yes, I'm back.
Hello. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you would like to add that you think that parents should know? Especially, I think it's especially, and giving them lots of information, like explaining them like the why, because that's what I was gonna say. Especially now, I think it's kind of weird how someone was telling me about this child who was like wearing a mask and he couldn't go near his uncles 1 week, and then the next week the parents were like, okay, yeah, you can remove the mask and you can go near your uncle now, and he was like
Confused.
Yeah, because he was like, well, what difference did last week make between this week?
Information is reassuring and it's very important. Same as we adults needing information, children do need information as well. Age appropriate, of course, in the way that it's communicated, I mean. But explaining them what has remained the same and why, and what is changing and why, it's very, 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 very important.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Is there anything else you would like to add? If there's one thing parents have to remember, what would it be?
Yes, I would say two things. One, manage and be aware of their own anxieties as parents. Because children will look to parents for reassurance. And also that in the face of uncertainty and hopelessness, what is more certain are bonds and relationships. And that's what is going to ground the family.
Okay. And so who do you work with? Like if someone wants to reach out to work with you?
Sure. We have a Facebook page called Ulysses Psychotherapy.
I will link it also in the video description.
Thank you. And you can write my two colleagues and me, Maria Lara Llerena and Elena Blackwood, all bilingual psychotherapists. We work with adults, families, couples, not directly with children now, but work with parents as well, and family couples, and individual psychotherapy, of course, which is our main. And you write us in our private Facebook messenger, or you can write us at upsychotherapy@gmail.com.
Okay, I'll share that email as well. In the video description. Okay, well, thank you so much for your time and for sharing all this.
For
tips.
having us, and I sent Denise the links of some activities that you can do with the children.
Yeah, I'll share them in the. And so thank you to everyone who's watching. So as you heard, if you have any questions, just pop them below and I will get back to you. And if you want to learn more about Laura and what she does, just visit her Facebook page, which I will also put in the video description, and just feel free to send them an email. Okay. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.